Welcome back. How's everybody doing? Hopefully good. If not, hopefully better soon.
Please clap.
My kids are on spring break next week. I guess technically it started today because their school was inexplicably closed today, Friday, when their spring break is next week. I don't know how that happened or why that happened, but I do know I had to hire a babysitter for the day so that my wife and I could work. Anyway, spring break next week. Spring break! And my loving, amazing, beautiful wife has planned for us to be on a Disney cruise Sunday through Thursday. So for one, there will not be any new episodes of RBP next week. Important to note. Now, many of you are probably thinking, wow, Ross, I thought you were staunchly anti-cruise. And I am. I've never been on a cruise. Certainly never been on a Disney cruise, and I don't really know what to expect. I'm trying to be positive. I'm opening myself up to the possibility of really enjoying it and having fun, but admittedly, conceptually, this is not my thing. And doing my first cruise ever with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, it doesn't have me in the best headspace. So in preparation for the cruise, I've been looking into some things. Researching, doing my own research, if you will. I've been looking up the weather for the area in which we will be cruising. And in doing so, I was reminded of a really stupid, annoying thing about weather forecasting. Because, when you see 30% chance of rain, it is not as straightforward as it should be, or as many of us think it is. Some people think that means that rain will impact 30% of the forecasted area. Others think it means it will rain 30% of the time that day. 30% of that 24-hour period will experience rain. But apparently it's really saying 30% of the forecast simulations that have been run by that particular meteorologist or weather station or weather providing information source suggest it will rain at least 0.01 inches in at least some part of the forecasted area. Or, to put it another way that maybe is slightly more easy to understand, it will rain on 30% of days like today, days with weather patterns that start by looking like today's in at least part of the forecasted area. The point is, this whole percent chance of rain situation, it literally could not be more confusing. It's idiotic. I literally spent a half hour on Google and Reddit prior to the show reading different websites and posts trying to get a straightforward answer on this, and it's not fucking possible. It's not possible to find just a simple explanation for what the percent chance of rain actually fucking means for a normal layman that isn't a damn weather person. So, how we don't have a more straightforward way of explaining percent chance of rain data is beyond me. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't, my head literally hurts from trying to get an easy to understand answer about this, and this is not my first time trying to figure this out and find an explanation that my brain can comprehend. I'm not a math guy, nor am I a meteorologist, but I've probably tried to Google what does the percent chance of rain actually mean once every 3 years for the past 15 years. So 5 times now I've done this deep dive, and every time I do, I come out more confused than I went in. Anyway, the weather looks like it'll be fine. High 70s to mid 80s. Low to no chance of rain. So, that's good. So, other than the weather, I've been looking into the specific ship, the cruise ship that me and my family will be on, because I don't want to be on one of the cruise ships that's been filled with human feces at any point or tipped over in a storm or whatever, obviously. I've talked about too many cruise ship and airplane horror stories on this show over the years, clearly, and it has rattled my mind. Anyway, the cruise ship we will be on, it's called Disney Magic. And when I looked it up, I found it was the first vessel in Disney's cruise line. So it is the oldest existing Disney cruise ship Construction started on Halloween of 1996, which feels ominous. October 31st of 1996, and Disney Magic first launched on April 17th of 1997. That is a long time ago. That's an old girl, the Disney Magic. So the first Disney cruise ship, and my first reaction to that was like, well, fuck me, we're on their oldest damn boat. But on the other hand, if this bad girl has been sailing the seas for almost 30 years, it's a reliable vessel, right? I'm choosing to take the positive angle here. It's the most reliable Disney cruise ship if it's been at it for the longest, right? It's got the best track record. It's a veteran in the cruise ship game. The most veteran of all the Disney cruise ships. The Disney Magic did undergo a significant refurbishment in May of 2023, so that's nice. This fucking thing holds 2,500 passengers. So let's just say, conservatively, 1,000 screaming children on this boat. I'm bringing 2. That's a lot of kids. And 950 crew members. That's a lot of crew. A lot of people. Here's some random facts about the Disney Magic that I dug up in my research. The ship's horn, you know, you think of a cruise ship, you think of that loud ass horn that they have, right? Well, no. This one doesn't sound like that. It plays a snippet of "When You Wish Upon a Star" from Pinocchio. It's for the kids. It also has 20 bright yellow lifeboats, which, along with the black, red, and white colors of the ship itself, match the colors of Mickey Mouse. Very cool. Mickey Mouse. Entertainment on the Disney Magic includes live Broadway-style shows with many Disney characters at the Walt Disney Theater. I don't know what that means, really. To be honest with you, a Broadway-style show. Do they just mean plays? Because what is Broadway style? Broadway is just the highest possible level of talent in the play world, right? So plays. Just say plays. They got a movie theater, the Buena Vista, which features both Disney films and first-run movies. And I think by first run, it means films that are in theaters as we speak, which that might be tight, although I'm not sure what's in theaters right now. It's March. They got several nightclubs and lounges, none of which I will get to experience. Several pools, which I assumed. When you look at photos of this thing, it seems like it's mostly pools and like water activities on the top deck and such. They got many Disney-themed parties and celebrations, including a pirate night, which I am participating in, and I'm aware of this because I have some type of pirate costume, hat, eye patch, and such. And sometimes they do Marvel or Star Wars Day at sea. There's also a 24 by 14 foot LED screen that's on this top deck that you can watch from Goofy's pool. So there's a giant pool and there's just a massive TV and they play like movies and shows on it. And I'm kind of stoked about that. That seems cool. So this is going to be like a full 5-day deal. I think it's actually 4 days. So like day one, we're sailing away from Galveston, Texas. And then day 2, we're at sea. Day 3, we're at Progreso. Then overnight, we turn around, head back from Progreso, Mexico, which I've never heard of until this cruise, which concerns me a bit. And then day 4, we're docked back in Galveston by like 10 a.m. or something. So it's 4 nights. Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then Thursday, we're back in Galveston. So I can survive that. I can survive this. That's what I'm trying to walk away with here. That I can survive this. I can do this. If nothing else, I know I will walk away from this trip with a shitload of great content to share with all of you next week on this show. So at least we've got that going for us. We've got that to look forward to. In fact, if I were you, I would be rooting for this cruise to be a total disaster for me because the worse it goes, the funnier the content will be. Wish me luck, though. Please don't put that evil on me. Since having kids, my perspective on life has shifted a lot. It's insane how fast they grow up, how much more quickly time seems to be flying by, and in conjunction with that, how much older I seem to be getting. That's why planning for my family's financial security is such a priority now and why it's something I've recently had to start taking a lot more seriously because it's not just about me anymore. It's about my wife and kids. I have to make sure we're prepared and have enough life insurance in case something unexpected happens, like on a Disney cruise and suddenly I'm out of the picture. You just never know. Well, today's sponsor Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get the protection that's right for your family. Life can be unpredictable, but securing your family's financial future doesn't have to be. That's where Fabric by Gerber Life comes in. Fabric offers modern, flexible term life insurance designed to fit your lifestyle. Whether you are planning for the future or you just want a little extra peace of mind, Fabric makes protecting what matters most simple and stress-free. Fabric is term life insurance you can get done right from your couch, all online and on your schedule. You could be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. If you've got kids, and especially if you're young and healthy, the time to lock in low rates is now. The younger and healthier you are, the lower your rates will be, obviously. Even if you have life insurance through your employer, it may not offer enough protection for your family, and it may not follow you if you leave your job. Fabric has flexible, high-quality policies that fit your family and your budget, like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. Fabric was designed for busy parents like you, and it's more than life insurance. Free digital wills, access to investment accounts to invest for your kids' future, and more, and manage it all right from your phone, of course. Simple, easy. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/Ross. That's meetfabric.com/Ross. MEET fabric.com/Ross. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company. Not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
And now, Ross Boland's Animal of the Week.
Woo! It's been a minute since I got to hear that music. Today's Animal of the Week, or this week's Animal of the Week, rather, is the tardigrade, which I believe, if memory serves, will be the smallest animal of the week we have ever done. A momentous day. Also the most indestructible animal we have ever done, bar none. Sources for my info here are Wikipedia, National Geographic, and FrontlineGenomics.com. Tardigrades, known colloquially as water bears or moss piglets, are a phylum of 8-legged segmented microanimals. They were first discovered or described by the German zoologist Johann August Ephraim Goltz in 1773, who called them little water bears. In 1777, the Italian biologist Lazzaro Spallanzani, that can't be how that's pronounced, named them tardigrada, which means slow steppers / walkers. Google search these things to see images. Tardigrade. Tardigrade. Looks like some shit out of, like, Dune, like the sandworm from Dune, Shai Hulud, mixed with a caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. Crazy shit. One of the weirdest looking animals I've ever seen, and they're teensy-tiny. Tardigrades have been on Earth for about 600 million years. About 400 million years before dinosaurs. Very, very old little creatures. And tardigrades have been found everywhere. From mountaintops to the deep sea and mud volcanoes, and from tropical rainforests to the Antarctic. These little water bears can live anywhere, Buster. Tardigrades are among the most resilient animals known, with individual species able to survive extreme conditions, such as exposure to extreme temperatures, extreme pressures, both high and low, air deprivation, radiation, dehydration, and starvation that would quickly kill most other known forms of life. You thought cockroaches were resilient? No. These things, tardigrades, are resilient. Tardigrades have survived exposure to outer space. In 2007, scientists placed the tiny critters into a satellite and shot them into space, which feels cruel. But there, they floated in special containers 167 miles above sea level for 10 days before plummeting back to Earth. And upon inspection, most of the water bears were okay. They had survived radiation blasts 700 times stronger than the sun's rays on Earth. I don't like that it says most of them were okay. How many did they send and how many died? Just sacrificed for science. Tardigrades have barrel-shaped bodies with 4 pairs of stubby legs, which you can see in the images. Their bodies consist of a head, 3 body segments, each with a pair of legs, and a caudal segment with a 4th pair of legs. The legs are without joints, while the feet have 4 to 8 claws each. The first 3 pairs of legs are directed downward along the sides, and they're the primary means of locomotion, while the 4th pair is directed backward on the last segment of the trunk and is used primarily for grasping the substrate. You know what that means. We all know what that means. The biggest adults may reach a body length of 1.5 millimeters, or 0.059 inches. The smallest adults below 0.1 millimeters. So you gotta have a microscope for that. Newly hatched tardigrades may be smaller than 0.05 millimeters. They can be viewed easily, though, using a standard microscope, making them very accessible to science students the world over. Science, bitch. Now, despite being smaller than a poppy seed, tardigrades look pretty terrifying when you view them up close, as you can see on Google Images. They got claws like bears and dagger-like teeth that tear into and suck the juices out of moss and algae. Their faces, frankly, if you can call that a face, it looks like a sucking machine. Mouth game on 100. Without access to water, this is insane. A tardigrade will curl up into a dry ball called a tun, T-U-N, and their body systems slow down so much that they are almost, but not quite, dead. And then the tiny animals can survive like that for decades. So if they don't have water, they curl up into a ball, and then they're just cool for decades, potentially, which is, I'm assuming, how they've survived as many hundreds of millions of years as they have. Scientists call this extreme type of hibernation cryptobiosis. So it's not hibernation, it's cryptobiosis. The water bear does a different type of long sleep than the grizzly bear. You know? So when they're re-exposed to water after the long period of not being in water, they can come back to life in just a few hours. So this thing could be out cold for 30 fucking years, playing dead, and then get water and be back to its full form in just a few hours. Once, when dried moss that had been in a museum for 100 years was moistened, tardigrades inside the moss came crawling out totally fine. So they're in some museum somewhere. It doesn't give me specifics, but apparently there was dried moss that had been in this museum for 100 years. They put water on it, and some tardigrades just came crawling out of there. Wild, the way these things can survive pretty much freaking anything. 600 million years old. Today's animal of the week, the tardigrades. Remembering to drink enough water, speaking of hydration, it's a constant struggle for most of us on a day-to-day basis, and as a result, a lot of us are walking around dehydrated without even realizing that it affects everything, our energy levels, our mental health, everything. We are not tardigrades. We need water, the human beings. We need it. Fortunately, today's episode is brought to you by Liquid IV, powered by Live Hydroscience. Liquid IV helps you break the mold with flavors like their new Hydration Multiplier sugar-free raspberry lemonade, a bright, zero-sugar flavor combining notes of ripe, freshly picked raspberries and citrusy, zesty lemon. Look, a lot of us struggle with drinking enough water every day, and that's why so many people are lugging around these comically large water bottles, but you don't have to spend this year dehydrated and exhausted from carrying around that monstrous water bottle everywhere. I personally still choose to lug the massive bottle around, but rather than having to refill it 3 times a day, I just dump one of these little packets of Liquid IV into it so that it tastes 3 times better with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks and is significantly more hydrating than water alone. Break the mold and own your ritual and try Liquid IV this year. Just 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone, powered by Live Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Embrace your ritual with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code ROSS at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code ROSS at liquidiv.com. Now, if you miss producer Kade on the microphone, which I know many of you do, got another Patreon preview for you today from this week's show on patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast, where every week we release an ad-free, exclusive, hour-long episode of RBP that is only available on Patreon, and these episodes are different Then our public show. Producer Kade joins me on the microphone. We usually do a little catching up because we don't get to talk, that much throughout the course of the workday. We're very busy. And then we take hotline calls from our listeners via our voicemail hotline, 888-WR-BOLIN, to catch up with our listeners as well. Those voicemails from the hotline, from our listeners, tend to drive the strong majority of every episode on Patreon. So we play calls from listeners that include questions, hypotheticals, stories, all kinds of crazy shit, and then we respond to them. We have a lot of fun doing it. We have over 500 members of the RBP gang already on patreon.com/Ross Bolin podcast, writing with us every week. So if you want more RBP and you want ad-free exclusive episodes and you miss producer Kade on the microphone, Patreon is the place to be. To demonstrate this, I have chosen a couple of more calls from this week's most recent Patreon episode to let you enjoy and enjoy the ensuing discussion as well. So I've got 2 calls for you today. One about running the dryer when you're not at home, and the other about name puns. Here you go.
Ross, Kade, what up? This is Keith. I'm calling from Northern Virginia. Shout out all of the DMV. Anyway, I need your opinion on this. I'm 28 years old. I grew up living a pretty normal life. One thing that I always told was you do not leave the house with the dryer on. I have friends whose houses actually have burnt down from dryer fires. And I thought that was a known thing in common society. Don't leave the house with that on. Anyway, the other day I was going to meet my girlfriend and I met her outside her apartment and we had to run back upstairs for her to get a coat. And we walked in and the dryer was on. And I don't mean it was at the end. She put that shit on and then walked out the door. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I feel like I'm being gaslit here. And I would love to know your opinion on it. This is also the same girlfriend that, no shade, I love her to death, but she put stuff in the oven and then went for a walk around the block. And I thought that was even fucking crazier than the dryer. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I always thought this was known amongst society that you don't leave that shit on just because of the nature of it catching on fire. Also, I must add, her dryer, she lives in an apartment building. It has a sign on it that says, do not operate when you are not home. So anyway, yeah, I would love to know your thoughts. Keep doing what you're doing. Gang, gang, gang. Don't leave your appliances on. Peace.
Keith from Northern Virginia, with a friendly reminder for all of us. I think this used to be a lot more of an issue, back in the day.
Yeah.
But Keith said he has multiple friends. He said friends, plural, who have had their houses burned down, which is fucking terrifying. I think this is generally known, though. You're not really supposed to do this. I still do it, but here's part of my reasoning. I always clean out the lint filter. That's the key. That's where your fire is getting started because it gets too hot. And if there's too much lint in there, too much buildup, then next thing you know, the whole thing's going up in fucking flames. You got to clean out the lint filter. You got to remember the lint filter. And even on my newfangled double 2-in-1 washer dryer thing that my wife bought, which is fucking awesome, by the way, you still have to clean out the lint filter. And this one actually gives me a reminder after every 2 or 3 loads. It's confirm that you have cleaned out the lint filter, and I have to hit confirm before I can start the next cycle, which I like. Also, this new dryer, washer dryer thing we have, it doesn't dry with heat. It dries by sucking, which is weird. I didn't even know that was a thing.
No.
So the dry washer dryer at Bolin Media, when you dry clothes, if right when the load finishes drying, you open the dryer, it's hot as shit in there. It's hot. The clothes are all hot, right? That's not how this one works. So I think it's a lot safer. But yeah, you got to be careful with that shit.
I will say it's nice getting the warm clothes
it's
out.
A great
you're
feeling.
doing your bed sheets, when they're all nice and warm.
I miss it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I miss it. This is the opposite. They come out cold.
No,
and sometimes slightly damp.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man.
Didn't suck hard enough.
Got to suck harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, clean out the lint filter. Leaving the oven on is fucking insane. I don't know what.
I won't do that because I'd get too paranoid. Again,
I would think about it the whole time I'm gone.
I could just be walking to the gas station, which is 10 minutes and back, and then I'd still I get back and the house is burned down.
Yeah, no, you can't leave the oven on. That seems too risky.
But I do this with the dryer still. But I mean, I try to do it during the day when I'm here anyways. But there are times where I'll go to the gym and it's still in the dryer. I'm like, oh, it'll be fine.
Just got to clean out that lint, dude.
Yep.
That's the key. That's the key to the equation. Mm-hmm. Her having a sign above her dryer that says "Do not operate when you are not home." I feel like that's part of the reason she's doing it. Because frankly, if I had a sign like that, I think I would. It's the rebel nature inside of you. You know, you don't like being told what to do.
Exactly.
Somebody tells you don't do it, you do it.
Yeah.
That's why I smoked cigarettes as a kid. They kept saying don't. I was like, fuck you. I'll do what I want to.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's also because the older models were probably easier to catch on fire? Or is it more just the lint?
I think it's older models, but also I think a lot of people do not switch out the lint filter often enough, because we're lazy.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't think I've done it with the new dryer yet. I don't know, or
since you've been using the new one, you haven't cleaned out the lint.
I think I have. I just don't remember where it's at.
It's just a bomb primed to explode in there.
Yeah,
I'll
have to double check. Since we got,
I'll show you where it's at after this.
Okay.
That was over a month ago, Kade.
Yeah, but I do one load a week.
Yeah,
sometimes two.
Yeah, but you were way behind. You probably had to do 30 loads that first 2 weeks.
True.
Everything
I think I cleaned it out. I just can't remember where it's at.
Oh, I can't wait to go check. I hope it's just fucking stuffed full so I can take a picture of it and use it for the featured image of this episode.
God, it might be actually.
But friendly reminder, clean your lint filter out. As I will do for Bowling Media after this episode, because Cade's trying to kill us all. Next call.
What up, Ross and Kade? Armin here. So one of my buddies in the golf group chat started hitting us up with all these oh yeah, I have another buddy of mine, that wants to join us and play some golf with us. His name is Barry. And I was like, all right, sure, you can bring Barry. He goes, are you guys not interested in his last name? And I was like, sure, what's his last name? And he goes, McCockenher. I was like, McCockenher. And then I realized this guy's hitting me with Barry McCockenher. And I was like, all right, bro, this guy's, he's just playing one of those games. You know those names like the Mike Hawks and Dixie Normus or whatever, the Mike Hawk and my Dixie Normus or whatever. How do you come up with those names? Who's coming up with this shit? Why is it still a thing? Is it weird that fucking 35-year-old is hitting me with this? I mean, you guys tell me. I feel like it's an old school high school joke, but this guy's still hitting me up with it. So let me know what you would do if you were in my shoes. Thanks.
Armin, what's good? Yeah, so it's I would say it's weird that your boy is doing this bit at 35, but question, is he a dad? Because dad humor, this fits in the bucket.
It gets a pass.
It's definitely immature high school level juvenile humor. But at some point when you're, for some reason, dads become just obsessed with the dumbest fucking jokes you've ever heard in your life. And to answer your question about who came up with these, do you know the answer?
I do not know.
It's Bart Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
The Simpsons did this a lot.
Because he would call
Moe's Tavern.
Yeah.
And he would drop them on him. So here's some of the ones from The Simpsons. I pee freely, which is just as stupid as it gets. Amanda hug and kiss, which is a great one.
Mm-hmm.
A man to hug and kiss, you get it? Jock strap. No
Classic.
laughs. Nobody's laughing at that one. Mike Roch. Mike Crotch.
Yeah.
I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt. That's one of the ones Bart dropped on Moe that Moe then repeated to the
bar.
To the bar. Hugh Jass. We got a Hugh Jass out there. There's one for all the butt lovers. Tess T. Coles.
Tess
T. Coles. Testicles.
Yep.
Testicles is a balls joke. Alcoholic. That's a classic, especially for the bar.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people raise their hand for that one.
We got an alcoholic here. B.O. Problem.
B.O. Problem.
Oh, BO problem. He says, do I have a BO problem? Do we have a BO problem here? Seymour Butts.
Classic.
Which is a well-known one. Oliver Closeoff. Oliver Closeoff.
Do I have Oliver Closeoff?
Lee Key Bum.
I thought I was going to go Leaky Pipes.
Leaky Bum. A leaky bum. Ollie to Booger.
I'll eat a booger.
I'll eat a booger. Homer Sexual. Pretty straightforward. I am a wiener.
Damn,
I don't know how you missed that.
They love that bit.
There's 22 of them on this list.
God damn.
Urinator. Urinator. Drew P. Wiener. Drew P. Wiener.
Yeah.
I like that. Maya Normus Butt. Maya Normus Butt. Moron. I'll just quickly read through the rest of these here. What else we got? Haywood, you cuddle me. Haywood, you cuddle me. And that's it. Those are the ones I've been able to pull from The Simpsons.
You know where I see these like name puns a lot is on burner accounts.
I was going to say gamer tags.
Probably gamer tags, but
SEC burners are very fond of these.
Yeah.
Ton of them in that environment.
It's super easy to point out so I can mute them now, which is great. I'm like, oh, wow, it's a dirty name pun. Just going to mute you.
Go ahead and mute you in advance, knowing exactly what kind of content you're bringing to the table.
Yep. Been muting a lot of those recently, and timeline's getting a little cleaner, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Got
to just go crazy with the mute button.
Yeah. I mean, we still see them. There's so many of them. I feel like they're just making multiples.
These fucking guys.
Yeah.
Former TFM commenters.
Mm-hmm.
Name puns and medium-sized polos.
Yeah.
That's what they've got going on. Anyway, I don't know. I judge your buddy, though, unless he's got multiple kids, in which case I kind of get it. But 35, probably time to let these...
Yeah, let the name puns go,
Especially when it's like the whole setup was him...
He had to ask, like, do you want to know his last name?
Yeah, dude. Like, you didn't even get the joke off.
Yeah.
You should have just let it go and tried another time.
Mm-hmm.
Forced it. Ruined it. Next call. All right, that's it. That's all you get for free. Now head over to patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast and support the show by subscribing for just $5 per month to gain access to our entire backlog of hundreds of ad-free episodes, plus a new one every week featuring producer Kade and I. Of course, as I mentioned, there will not be a new one next week because I will be out of town on this Disney cruise. You can also sign up for a 7-day free trial on patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast. You'll have 7 days to check out our Patreon page, check out all the backlog of all the ad-free episodes, which I believe we started in like 2019. So it's a lot of shows. It's hundreds of episodes of RBP. Patreon.com/Ross Bolin Podcast is a great way to support our show. It's just $5 a month to gain access to our entire backlog and to get all the new episodes when they drop on Patreon. And other than that, great way to support our show is by supporting our sponsors. Today we had Liquid IV. You go to liquidiv.com, use code Ross at checkout. You'll get 20% off your first order. And of course, we also had Fabric to help protect your family. You go to meetfabric.com/Ross. Get you some insurance for your life. Know what I'm saying? Formula Bone is back in season as of this week. Jared's first preview for the upcoming F1 season that starts this weekend with the Australian Grand Prix. Formula Bone is available wherever you are getting your RBP, but most people choose to take it in on youtube.com/@FormulaBone. You can follow @FormulaBone on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, etc. to keep up with Jared and all of his F1 coverage all season long. If you love F1, you will love Formula Bone. Check it out. If you are watching Severance or The White Lotus, we are covering both on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, hosted by me and one of my friends of over 20 years now, Barrett Dudley. You can check out Oysters, Clams, and Cockles on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get RBP as well. Next week, we've got the Severance Season 2 finale, which will be available only on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Our coverage of it will be anyway. The actual show will be available on Apple TV. And we're continuing our coverage of The White Lotus Season 3 as well, having a blast there. So if you want to support more Bolin Media, get more of our shows, that's where you go. Formula Bone for F1 coverage with Jared J-Bone, Borislow, and Oysters, Clams, and Cockles for more of me with my friend Barrett doing TV and film talk, but we usually cover one TV show at a time, episodically, with a companion podcast that we release for each episode of the TV show that drops. So that's that. You can go to bowlinmedia.com/shop to get yourself some merch. Hope y'all have a great weekend. I will see you the week after next because I'm going to be on spring break, baby. Until next time, peace be with you and also with you.